Hi, my name is Dalton Jensen, and today I'm going to teach you how to build a homemade MooseCall out of a coffee can and some other just normal household items. Just printed out some instructions for everybody, and that way you kind of follow along what's going on. So first, you need a coffee can. It has to be a metal coffee can. It's the only way it'll work. And duct tape, I've got two different kinds of duct tape. You can use one color if you want to, it doesn't really matter. Shoelace, the key to the shoelace is it must be a flat braided shoelace or it won't work quite properly. And then just a Sharpie, a nail, tape measure, and a hammer. First thing you're going to do, get the bottom of your coffee can. You just want to find dead center. So widest point on this coffee can is 3 inches. So just mark a little mark here at 3 inches. Measure it the other way. 3 inches. So once you've got center found, take your nail, you just pop it right through the bottom of the can. That hole should be big enough. Now, we're going to take our first layer of duct tape, and the important thing here is bottom has to be done first, and then you can wrap the sides of your can. So, put your duct tape across the bottom. And I like to, it doesn't really matter how you do this, you can crisscross it around like I do, or you can just make lines across it as long as you get the bottom covered up.
Do you want to make sure that the tape touches the bottom, or is it kind of suspended?
No, you want to pull it. I mean, it's alright if some tape touches the bottom, it's not a big deal, but you want to try to kind of keep it tight and suspended. So, taking a little bit longer. But then once this is taped up, then you can take your tape and wrap it around the base of the can. And I mean, you know, I just like to make mine look kind of nice. So I take, after that's done, just to make sure that all the duct tape on the bottom gets held down, wrap it, and it makes it look a little bit cleaner. Make one wrap around the base of the can, like this. And then I just start again here at the base and spiral duct tape up the can, coffee can. And you can do just one layer. You can do multiple layers. It just kind of depends on the sound you want to come out of it. The more duct tape you get on it, the deeper the sound, which in the case of a moose, that just means that a deeper sound is generally coming from older and larger bulls. So it kind of depends on what type of moose you're trying to call in, because smaller bulls tend to stay away from the deep sounds because they know it's a big bull and they're not going to win that fight. So once you've got it all wrapped up like that, you can add another layer. I always add at least one more, usually two, but just for the sake of time, I don't have to do that. It's the same thing you just saw me do. Go ahead and do, you're going to take your nail that you used before, you're going to find the hole in the bottom of your can, pop it through the duct tape without tearing it too much. If I can get it to go through that hole. There we go. It'd help if I'd use the nail instead of the screw, but now, got your hole in your duct tape. You're going to take your shoelace. Length doesn't really matter on this as long as it's longer than about a yay long, you're good. And you just want to tie a knot on the end of it, big enough to where it's not going to pull through the hole. And then simply take your shoelace end that you didn't knot, put it through the bottom of the can where it holds that. Poke it through duct tape. Pull it all the way through. And that's pretty much all you need to do, except for when it's built now. Now what you need to do is get this shoelace wet, get a little bit of water here, and as you pull on the string, it makes a moose call. The sound of the moose calling.
What happens if you use a smaller can?
For the most part, it makes the same general sound. I mean, it's not a big deal what the sound is that comes out of it, because they're just like any other animal, or like people. No animal call is exactly the same, so it doesn't really, as long as it's relatively close to what they sound like, it'll work. So I'm going to get most of the loose moisture out of there. You just kind of want your shoelace to be a little bit wet. And then you just hold the can, whatever your non-dominant hand. Take your thumb and your forefinger. You want to just pinch the shoelace on the flat side there, right up towards the bottom of the can. And this takes a little bit of practice to do. You have to start off with barely holding on to it, and then you grip tighter as you go down to make the proper sound. And it takes a little bit of practice before you can make a smooth action and not be skipping over the shoelace. But that's what happens when there's too much water in the shoelace. It doesn't make any sounds.
Why do you have water on it in the first place?
To make it squeak when you run your fingers across it. If it's just a dry shoelace, you're just going to end up with rope burn. Let's see if I can get the moisture out.
So then the sound just vibrates through.
Yeah, it's just the bottom of the can vibrating because of the shoelace creating sound. And that's what happens if you squeeze too tight. That's how to do it. There's also, like I was saying before, generally the deeper the sound, the bigger the moose. So if you have a really deep kind of raspy sound coming through it, you're gonna generally keep away a lot of the smaller bulls, and that doesn't mean that they're not shootable. It just means that they're not trophy quality. And to make a moose call like that, you can take a piece of leather, a big thick piece of leather, and you can, I mean, you gotta get enough to fit in here in one sheet, but you take your coffee can and you trace around on that square of leather. You cut out a circle, and you have to trim a little bit so that it fits inside here, and punch a hole in it, and then you take the can, and that creates a much deeper sound. And that it just depends on what kind of animal you're hunting for, if you want to do that or not. And like I said before, generally you're gonna wanna put more duct tape on here, but there's not a whole lot of point in you watching me continuously wrap a coffee can with duct tape. But anyways, I've got some evaluation forms I want to pass out so you guys can let me know how I did on this presentation.